Today we're going to be looking at complex derivatives, and instead of explaining exactly what complex derivative means, let's go ahead and look at the first example. So we have f of x equals sine of x over e to the x times 3x squared. What is f prime of x? In other words, what is the derivative? So I want to talk about what makes this a complex derivative. The simple fact is we have both a quotient rule going on because we have a fraction with two functions in it, and a product rule. I would say anytime you have more than one rule, like if you combine a product and a quotient rule, you have a complex derivative. So let's go ahead and take a look at how to solve this. And in fact, there is more than one way. I'm going to show you the easiest way to do this problem. So right off the bat, what you can do, if you notice, since this is a fraction and this isn't, if you were to write 3x squared over 1, you could move it to the top of the fraction. So we're going to combine sine of x with 3x squared. In other words, for the first step, as it's stated, you want to make the derivative easier. You're going to see why this is easier. Whoops, I still spelled derivative. You're going to see why this is easier this way as we go through the problem. But basically, we are now just dealing with a quotient, right? Now, we still have a product within a quotient, but because we break it down this way, it's going to make it a little bit easier, I think. Next, we're going to determine which derivative rules we're talking about. In this case, like I said, we're dealing with the product and the quotient rule. And so make sure you're aware of each of those rules and you know what they are. We're going to talk about them as we go through. Now, in order to figure out the derivative of all of these things, we have to know the derivative of each of these components. So the derivative of sine we've talked about is cosine. The derivative of e to the x is e to the x. And you know the derivative of 3x squared, that's 6x. This is the way I teach my students. What we're going to do next is label each component of the expression that we're given. So here's how I like to do it. So I like to label the outermost part of my function as a, in this case the numerator, and then b would kind of be also on the outermost simplistic terms of the function. A has two components, okay? So since I've labeled this b, I'll label the smaller components c and d. So I start with the larger components of my function and go to the smaller ones. The smaller ones come later in the alphabet. You're going to see how this works as we go through this derivative. But basically, in order to figure out the derivative of a, you see that you need to know the product rule of c and d. So the derivative of this would be c prime d plus cd prime using the product rule. So what I normally do is, after I've labeled all of my components, I just write them out alphabetically. So I said a was the top of my fraction, sine x times 3x squared, b is e to the x, c is sine of x, d is 3x squared. Again, this is what it looks like when I label it as such. And then what you want to do is you want to find the derivatives of the components in reverse order. And so basically start with the smaller components, or the later letter in the alphabet, and then move backwards. So I'm going to find the derivative of d first. Derivative of 3x squared is 6x using the power rule. Derivative of sine of x is cosine of x. That's my c prime. Derivative of e to the x is e to the x, which is my b. So there's that. Then we want to go to a, and this is why we go backwards, because now that we know d, c, and b, which are our smaller components, we can figure out the derivative of a using the product rule. Remember, a was the top of our fraction. It was c prime d plus cd prime, and therefore, since we already figured out c prime and d prime on the previous slide, we can simply fill that stuff in. So it's going to be cosine x 3x squared, just replacing these two right here, plus sine of x times 6x, 6x being our d prime. Alright, let's keep going. Then we're going to take the derivative. And so, since we labeled the top of the fraction a and the bottom b, we can now just use the quotient rule. It'd be a prime b minus ab prime over b squared, where b is the bottom of my fraction. Normally it would be f prime g minus fg prime over g squared. It's the same thing, but I just like to use a, b, c, and d when I'm doing complex derivatives. So now that we've figured out the derivative of a and b and c and d, all our components. We know the derivative of a and b. We can just plug this stuff in, right? Because we just figured it out. So a prime we found was cosine of x times 3x squared plus sine of x times 6x. B is at the bottom, e to the x minus a b prime, a being the top of our original fraction, over b squared. Now let's simplify that stuff. You know, when you have e to the x times all of this, it's not really going to multiply into it because they're all different functions, so just pull it on the outside. Over here, we have an e to the x also. So basically what we're doing from this step to this step is pulling out the GCF of e to the x and putting it right here. And the bottom will just become e to the 2x because it's a power to a power. There's also a 3x squared in both of these expressions. We're going to see how to pull that out in just a second. But for now, because you have e to the x squared, that's the same as e to the x times e to the x. So you can write it that way. And the reason we write it that way is because then we can see those e to the x that we pulled out to begin with on the top and bottom are going to cancel. So now you're just left with e to the x. And as I said before, you do have a 3x squared right here that you could possibly pull out. But the thing is, I noticed this middle term doesn't have a 3x squared, so we're probably not going to pull it out. We could, but we're just going to leave it that way. I wasn't looking at the fact that this middle term did not have, this middle term didn't have a 3x squared. So we'll just leave it that way, and this is going to be our answer. So make sure you simplify that derivative once you use the quotient product rule, whatever. So that's our first example of a complex derivative, and again, the reason it's considered a complex derivative because it's basically a product rule within a quotient rule. So when you have a rule within a rule, it's considered a complex derivative.